Good evening, everyone. Sorry, it's not the afternoon. Really excited to be here with you all tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. We know that you had a lot of other options tonight. The Vice President is speaking at the Ellipse this evening. The World Series is going to be on. I don't personally have a team that I'm rooting for in the World Series, although I am a Houston Astros fan, so you can go ahead and judge me for that. I'm from the great city of Houston. And I just wanted, this is going to be the last of our series of seven organizing calls that we've been organizing with for White Dudes for Harris. We originally got all of this stuff kicked off a few months ago to create a space for white men to be a part of the solution and helping elect Vice President Harris. Really excited. We were really excited by the 200,000 people and the $4.5 million that we were able to raise on behalf of the campaign. And then the tens of thousands of people who have gotten on these over the last 7 weeks to learn more about volunteering, what it entails. And then for the folks who signed up to volunteer, I can't tell you how many emails I've received from people over the last couple of weeks telling me that they signed up to volunteer a shift, make phone calls, write letters, knock on doors, get in a caravan and go to a swing state. We're just super grateful and really humbled by all of the excitement that's out there and all of the new energy that we've been finding. One of the things that's just been really inspiring to see is how many people are volunteering for the campaign or another organization for the very first time. So again, thank you so much for attending these. This will be our last one. We have a really incredible lineup for tonight. We are going to hear from folks like Nick Offerman, Mark Hamill, Michael Kelly, Lance Bass. And then we're going to be getting one final training from Kelly Dietrich, who is the CEO of the National Democratic Training Committee. And last but not least, we're going to hear from Cyrus Lesko, who's going to talk to us a little bit about why he has been so involved and has been volunteering so much for Vice President Harris. We're really excited tonight. Before we jump in, I just want to remind folks that there is a QR code on your screen. If you scan it, and fill out the form, we will be able to send you volunteer opportunities for folks who are already on our list. We've been sending those out every couple days. We will send out another digest of volunteer opportunities tomorrow. So stay tuned for a bunch of links. If basically anything it is that you want to be able to do, whether it's get in a car and go to a swing state, make phone calls, knock on doors in your neighborhood, whatever it is, we're going to have a link and a volunteer opportunity for you. And without further ado, you don't get on these to listen to me talk. I would love to introduce our first speaker, Nick Offerman. Nick, all you.
All right, hello. Thank you very much for having me, and I will try to keep it as succinct as possible because I speak slowly. I am getting antsy. We're getting very close to the election, and I just want to touch briefly on what I think is at stake in this election coming up. One of the things when I try to talk to people and encourage them to get out and vote is I hear a lot of ambivalence and inaction where people say, well, I'm leaning to one side or the other, but I don't like this policy or that. And I just want to address that to my friends and say, I will never agree, none of us will ever agree with all of the policies in our government. Trying to get a station wagon full of kids to decide on where to get pizza is hard enough. So to imagine governing an entire nation successfully where everyone is satisfied is merely impossible. And so the choice in front of us is one of these choices perfect. The choice is, do you want a rapist leading our country, or do you want an experienced leader full of positivity who cares about the working class and not billionaires or Russians, etc.? It's an ongoing project. We will always be attempting to improve our governance. We will always be attempting to make our system better to represent all of the people equally. It will always be flawed. We're human beings. As soon as you please all the vanilla lovers, the chocolate lovers will be displeased, and so forth. And so I just want to remind people that it's not a binary choice. There's simply a choice between misinformation and hatred, there's a choice between benevolence and democracy. Um, and the finally the messaging that I've sort of put out in this campaign, I've put out a couple songs that I'm going to post again after I get off this panel. One of them is called Kamala Man. One of them is called You Better Vote. And they're comedy songs promoting voting for the Democratic Party. And the amount of hatred that I've received in response from the right-wing people and the sort of troll factory really reminds me that I always think I really am glad I'm voting for the side I'm voting for, because I'm never driven by hatred. No matter how misguided and wrong their policies are, their information is, their disinformation, it never occurs to me to hate my fellow Americans or suggest violence or engage in the kind of bigotry that we're just seeing coming out of a fire hose from Trump and his entire party. And so that's my messaging. When I talk to people, I say, I don't, whoever you want to vote for, I want to shake your hand and consider you my neighbor. And if you're hungry, I want to make you a sandwich. And I want to vote for the people who want to care about you. They want to give you health care. They want to give everybody equal rights. They want women to have the right to choose what happens to their bodies and so forth. And so for me, it comes down to that simple idea that one side is founded in hatred and violence and greed and fear. And one side, flawed as we may be, we're a bunch of human beings, is trying to get everybody health care, is trying to get everybody an affordable living, and so forth. And so my favorite writer is a Kentucky farmer and agrarian named Wendell Berry. And he eloquently says that the health of everything, our planet and our ecosystems and our agriculture, it all turns on affection. And so I encourage people to get out and get people to the polls and encourage people to vote with affection for one another rather than with hatred and bigotry towards each other. And I'm very grateful to you for having me to flap my gums for a few minutes tonight.
Thank you so much, Nick. We really, really appreciate you being on. That was really well said, really beautiful. A really incredible reminder that, like, regardless of, the outcome of the election, like, folks are still our neighbors. So really, really appreciate that. Next up, we've got another incredible guest. I have the honor of introducing Mark Hamill. Mark, kicking it to you.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Every year you hear this is the most important election of our lives, but this time they're not kidding. I mean, I was always politically active, but never publicly so. I wouldn't go on television and talk about politics or in interviews or anything, but this time is different. I love my country and I feel it's my patriotic duty to do anything I can to make sure the unthinkable doesn't happen. And we have someone like 45 get back into the Oval Office. I mean, it's literally good versus evil. I mean, we want to preserve our form of government, our way of life. And you have someone on the other side who tells you right up front what he wants to do. I mean, dictator from day one. You don't have to read all 922 pages of the Lincoln Project. Google it. It's terrifying. And I can't understand why they would put it down in writing. This seems like an evil secret plan that you'd want to unleash on the public privately and not let them know in advance. But like I say, he tells you exactly how he feels. And how about that? America is the world's garbage can as a closing message. Everything about him is dark and ominous and frightening. Here on our side, we have optimism and hope and joy and concrete plans to preserve Roe v. Wade, to help the middle class, to ask the ultra wealthy to pay a little more of their fair share. We're right on all the issues. I mean, climate change is something that I think is really important. Kamala has a plan. The other side calls it not just a hoax, a Chinese hoax, just to get a little of that xenophobia back in. But I'll tell you that was a great gift that they gave us Sunday at that horrible racist, fascist hate rally in New York. Uh, that really helps us. I mean, I was looking at the numbers of Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in Florida. So I've never seen such a disastrous final message in the last week of a campaign as this one. So it's all up to us now. I mean, I know a lot of the people on this call have been doing the hard work of making the phone calls and knocking on doors, and I'm so grateful for your work. It's crucial that we all stand together, and I'm I'm endlessly optimistic, but maybe I'm hopelessly naive. But I just happen to believe there are more good, decent, moral people who practice the golden rule than there are of them. And like I say, it's just the anger and the hatred and the resentment. It's all so dark. Peace, people. Don't turn to the orange side. Vote Kamala and vote Tim on November 5th. I don't ask for much, but I'm really looking forward to a return to normal where we can disagree based on policies and not make it all so ugly. And I think the momentum is clearly on our side and the enthusiasm on our side. I mean, I don't want to jinx it. You know, I don't want anyone to get complacent. We got to run like we're 30 points behind. But I haven't seen this much enthusiasm since '08 when Obama ran for the first time. And by the way, you don't see any Democrats for the orange guy on our side. Look at how many Republican groups we have. Republicans for Kamala, evangelicals. I mean, it goes on because they realize he's really a desperately unwell person that has no business being anywhere near the levers of power. So thanks again for having me. Every one of these Zooms, and by the way, you're my second Zoom today, but I always learn something. So I'll turn it back to you so I can hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Mark. We really appreciate it. Someone in the chat, I think, said it quite well, which is that you're arguing for a new hope for Harris Walls. So thank you.
Exactly. I mean, it's so clear. I mean, it is good versus evil, and people are, I believe, there. That's a minority. His ceiling is like 47%. I think not only will she beat him, she'll beat him bigger than Joe did, and he beat him by 7 million. But like I say, let's campaign like we're losing. That's the way to get it done. If you don't have a plan, go to iwillvote.com. It's so easy. Make sure that if there's elderly people that need a ride to the polls, either get mail-in ballots or drive them to the polls yourself. Make a day of it. That's what we used to do. I mean, we've all voted early in this house, but we used to make a day of it. We'd all go, get friends and neighbors, all go down to the polling place, and then go out for brunch. So I still believe that Election Day should be a national holiday, and I love Australia where there's a fine if you don't vote. Something like a parking ticket, you know, $20 or whatever. But boy, that motivates a lot of people because when we vote, it's true, we win.
I love it. Thank you, Mark. And just so folks know, so I hold myself accountable, I should take the address out of it, but this is my mail-in ballot or my mail-in ballot. I'm gonna actually take it to a Dropbox tomorrow. so that my voice gets heard. So thank you so much, Mark. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate all of your advocacy over the last few months. Um, it's been really appreciated. And so with that, we are going to kick it to our next speaker, who I think I probably don't know anyone who whose characters are more different than the human being who plays them. I'd like to introduce Michael Kelly, who is genuinely a lovely human being.
Thank you. Thank you, Ross. I hope that is very kind of you to say. I hope you can hear me and see me. I'm having some technical difficulties here. But thank you to you. Thank you to Nick, Mark. Are you kidding me? You guys are awesome legends. I'm so honored to be hanging out with all of you tonight. Thank you to White Dudes for Harris for having me. This is simple. A lot of the guys have said it, man. In my opinion, this is hate versus love. This is good versus evil. Like Mark said, it's. I mean, come on. It's policy. It's real policy versus. It's a beautiful policy. It's a beautiful thing. You're gonna see it in 2 weeks. It's a bunch of horseshit. Everything. It's smoke and mirrors. We've got the good guy. Happens to be a woman, which I want to. I think what's really important, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I want to get this out there to the young men of this country, because white men truly are, specifically the uneducated white male is the biggest supporter of the right? We know that it's out there. I want young men to understand, these young college kids right now, these young kids that are, when you're in college, you don't necessarily think, when you're in high school and you're in college, you're not thinking with everything yet, right? I know that from my own foolishness and ridiculous shit that I did in life. So I can say, guys, just listen to me. He's the con man. And most of you, in 20 years, the majority of you, not all of you, but most of you will be married. Most of you will have kids. And you do not want to tell your children in 20, 30 years that you were one of the people who supported a convicted felon, a man found liable of rape, a known con man, a man who has bankrupted countless businesses, ruined countless people's lives, gone and not paid his debts, just the worst of the worst. And I get it. You get hung up in this stuff and it's rah, rah, rah. But there are real life consequences, and your children are going to ask you decades from now, what did you do, Dad? Who did you vote for? And if you say Trump and he happens to sneak in again, you're going to have real things to answer for. So I want to stay on the good side. I also want to say thank you to all the volunteers who are doing way more than I do. Thank you all for everything that you're doing. You are the soldiers. You are the ones in the front lines, and I appreciate the hell out of every single one of you. So thank you. Much love to all, man. Way to go, White Dudes.
Thank you so much, Michael. We really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just very super well said. With that, we weren't able to. Lance Bass actually ended up having to go to an event that he organized himself, so he sent us a video. So we're gonna go ahead and play that, and then we're gonna get into the training for the night.
How's it going, everyone? It is Lance Bass, and I'm so sorry I can't be there with you live right now, but I am on my way to a dance party I am hosting for Harris Walls right now. Super excited about that. But all right, everyone, let's talk about where we're at and why it matters so much. So right now, we are facing some of the most defining challenges of our time. Equality, freedom, the rights we all deserve. These aren't just talking points. They're real, and they're on the line. And if we don't step up, Who's going to? This isn't the moment to sit back and hope someone else takes care of it. We're all in this together, and every single one of us has a role to play. And let's be real. As we know, Trump's campaign has way more money for attack ads in this final stretch, and that means we have to step up and counteract that. It's uncomfortable, yeah, volunteering, putting yourself out there, stepping out of the usual routine. It's not easy, but big change has never come from staying comfortable. And if we want to create the kind of world we can be proud of, we've got to step up and show up even when it is hard. We need folks on the ground, making calls, knocking on those doors, having conversations. We need you. So let's get out of our comfort zones into action, because what we do now is going to shape everything that comes next. So let's be the ones who made a difference. Let's make this moment count. All right, guys, we'll see you there. Mwah.
All right, everyone, I've been following the chat as we've been going. It seems like a lot of folks here have been out there volunteering, which is awesome. Like, we should all be listening to what Lance is telling us to do. Get out there, volunteer, knock on doors, do whatever it is that you're able to do. And for our last training in this series, I'm really excited to reintroduce my friend, someone who I've worked with a lot over the last 8 years, the person who did the first training for us, Kelly Dietrich, who is the CEO of the National Democratic Training Committee, is going to come in and sum up all of the things that we've been talking about through the last several weeks. So Kelly, all you.
Ross, thanks for having me. Oh, I appreciate it very much. Thank you, everyone. It's truly an honor to follow these incredible artists, these actors. I am excited to be here tonight. If there is one takeaway that the hundreds of you on this call have, it's do something. We need you to vote, and we need you to take action. Now, that sounds like a very vague direction, and we're going to walk through it tonight on the different ways that you can take action and show you how easy it is. We're going to have QR codes where you can sign up tonight to volunteer. If you are already doing it, thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you still learn something here. But I am going to go ahead and share my screen now. And if you'll give me a minute, we'll do this. And off we go. All right. The final push, ways to get involved. Everyone, I am Kelly Dietrich. I am the CEO and founder of the National Democratic Training Committee. Our organization exists to provide free resources and training for any Democrat who wants to get involved anywhere in the country. We believe we need to lower the barrier of entry to Democratic politics. We need to be working towards long-term power, and that if people are willing to be the face of the Democratic Party in their neighborhoods and their communities, whether they're running for Congress or school board, we should be making that job as easy as possible for them. I am currently a resident of the city of Chicago, although I am a Missouri kid by birth, a proud girl dad, and I will talk all day long about Kansas Jayhawks and the Kansas City Chiefs. So if you want to connect with me, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find us at traindemocrats.org. So our mission is to provide Democrats like you with the tools and resources needed to be successful. And we do that in a very organized, professional way, which means tonight we want to be very clear about our learning objective. We want to talk about the ways to have a real impact on voter turnout this final week of the election cycle. We have 6 days and a wake up. That's not a lot of time. I know the days are long, the years are short, but this race is going to be close. Literally every vote matters. So we teach every campaign that there are 3 limited resources. They have their time, they have their money, and they have people. You, as a voter in our democracy, can support candidates you believe in 3 ways, right? You can absolutely vote, you can give your time, and you can volunteer. And that volunteering can be talking to the campaigns or talking to the people in your social circles. We're going to get through all of those and talk about the ways to do that. But volunteers are needed in every state. We talk a lot about the swing states, and the swing states are incredibly important. If you have time to go to a swing state, if you live near one, if you can, the campaign is literally taking volunteers to go work through election weekend, right? They need people to canvass. That's door knocking. We need people to phone bank. That's calling voters. Sometimes it's swing voters. A lot of time as we get closer to the election, it will be to Democrats who have yet to vote. We need people to send texts. I'm sure all of our phones are overloaded right now with a number of texts from every known individual urging you to contribute and give. And then, of course, we need you to support safe and free voting. These are poll watchers. These are people in the precincts on election day. That can happen. It happens here in Chicago where we need poll watchers and people handing out lit and talking to people, right? There are all kinds of ways to get involved depending on what you want to do. So canvass. Right here, we have a QR code that's going to take you straight to the sign up for the Harris campaign. I'm going to take some time on this slide so everyone has a chance to scan it and sign up. If you haven't been canvassing yet, I highly, highly encourage anyone and everyone to do a shift. It is not only incredibly fulfilling and rewarding, but it's also really educational. Now, some people get a little worried. They're not going to send you out there on your own. You're sent usually in groups. You definitely have a partner when you knock on doors. The conversations that can take place are some of the most effective means to not only convert voters, but to turn out voters. Humans, we're social animals, right? We want to talk to each other. So having another person face to face who's willing to listen to us, listen to our needs, talk to us about these issues is the most effective way to convert votes. Okay, I'm going to move on from this slide. I think we're going to share these again in the follow-up. All of this is available at gokamalaharris.com as well. If knocking doors isn't your thing, you can't make it out, you don't have the time, phone banking is incredibly important. This QR code, guess what it's going to do? That's right. It's going to take you right to Mobilize to sign up for phone banking shifts. Again, this is not a scary or intimidating volunteer opportunity. You're going to be given lists of voters. Again, it might be turning out Democrats who have yet to vote. It might be people who have requested ballots who haven't sent them back in. You'll be given a script to help walk you through. The most important thing in this is to just have a conversation. Everybody knows it's awkward when you make these calls. You know they're awkward by getting them, by being on the receiving end. So just acknowledge it. Build a relationship and a connection with that person. Now, of course, people say, no, I'm not going to do it. Okay, great. Thank you so much. I hope you change your mind. We could really use your vote. We teach our candidates that getting no is not a bad thing. Getting no is a definitive answer, meaning we don't need to waste any more of our time, money, or people on this individual trying to get them to do something they just said they're not going to do. Wonderful, great, mark them off the list. On to the next one. We can do hard things, right? Again, if this were easy, everyone will be doing it. We wouldn't be in this spot. We need you. Sign up for phone banking. Now, phone banking is not your thing. What about texting? Don't worry, we're not going to use your personal number. No one's going to know who's texting them. Text banking is a fantastic way to reach thousands of people in a shift. Now, this is a fairly new tactic that has really exploded this cycle, especially since the pandemic, right? Texting people, reminding them to vote. Texting people, reminding them why they should vote. Again, we are incredibly blessed not only to have the orange idiot on the other side, but to also have an amazing candidate of our own. And the Harris Walls team not only is a competent, experienced leadership team, but they have plans and understanding and details. They hold themselves accountable to the people and to the voters. And conveying that allows us to talk to people about what's important to them. All right. I've been vamping on all three of these slides to give you time to scan the QR code and go register. We have one more. If you are interested, please scan this QR code and get involved in your precinct, in your neighborhood. You can help by supporting with voter protection and election day logistics. Again, these are poll watchers. These are people handing out lit. There's all kinds of different opportunities to make certain that a free and fair vote takes place in your neighborhood. And we need people to step up for this. Okay, guys, there's 6 days and a wake up left. We don't have any time. Please take one of these actions. Again, if you can't do that, or if you can do that and can do more, giving goes a long, long way. Now, I am a Democratic fundraiser by trade. It's what I did before I started the National Democratic Training Committee. I wish we had publicly funded elections, but that's not the case. The truth of the matter is, elections are won by talking to voters. Talking to voters is expensive. It takes money. You don't get money unless you ask for money. This is us, NDTC, White Dudes for Harris, asking you to contribute. Support Harris Walls. I think there's a link in the White Dudes for Harris email that came along, and there'll be another one later of opportunities to support. Look, if those aren't your jam, find an organization, find a local candidate that is. If it's $5, $10, $100, whatever you can do, it makes a difference. Thank you in advance for that. All right. Those are 4 ways and a contribution of how you can get involved. Let's talk about how you can leverage your personal network and what you can do from the comfort of your own home. Now, when we did one of our very first training here, we talked all about relational organizing, which is a fancy word for talking to people in your social circles, right? We need you to engage your contact list. If you talk to the people that you see at your kid's school, at the gym, at your work, wherever it may be, your church, your social club, whatever you do, talk to them. Ask them if they're voting. Ask them if they've made a voting plan. This is an incredibly effective and cost-efficient tool for any and every campaign. So we've talked again, we mentioned battleground states. You can't make it a battleground state. That's okay. Are you in Missouri? Are you started in Democratic politics? Not a lot of Democrats there, but there are some, right? The more people can see that there are other individuals sharing their beliefs, sharing their values, the more likely they are to vote. And so when you talk to them, you not only want to be asking questions about them, well, what's important to you? Let me tell you why Harris is such a good candidate because of what you just said. We also want to leverage some gentle social pressure, right? I know this is the White Dudes for Harris call, but leverage that guilt our mothers all put on us, right? Take that, leverage other people. We need your vote. Now, it's not the most effective thing to ask them to vote. What is even more effective is to ask them to vote and make a voting plan. So what does that mean? Well, a vote plan is when someone says, yes, I'll vote, and you say, okay, do you have a plan? How and when are you going to vote? Well, now I've got to think through all of the potential obstacles that might be in my way when I say I'm going to go vote. Like, oh yeah, I'll vote Tuesday afternoon. No problem. Okay, great. Do you have a plan? How are you going to get there? I've got to think through, do I need to drive? Can I walk? What happens if my kid needs to be picked up from school? Right? There's all kinds of things that go in. And if people can make that plan ahead of time, they can anticipate the hurdles and plan around them. It is way more effective than just saying, hey, please vote, right? This is what we need to do. Now, there's no one right way to do this. We've got some best practices here. You want them to be excited. We all want to be excited. You want them to vote early if possible. If you can offer transportation, please do it, right? There's no one right way to do this. What matters most is you leveraging your personal relationship with them to get them to vote. Now, we've got some additional information here. You can use your online presence, okay? If talking to your social circle directly isn't your jam, I'm giving you every out here, everyone. There is no excuse at the end of this training why you say, I don't know what to do, okay? You can knock doors, you can make calls, you can text, you can volunteer on election day in your precinct, you can call and text your friends, or you can go online, right? We need you to post on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, wherever you are, Discord, I've got plenty of channels there, right? Slack, whatever it may be, we need you to post. And there are lots of resources available that you can share online to encourage people to go vote. Again, we're making it as easy as possible for you. Now, I want to take a break because I just covered a whole lot in a short amount of time, because there are only 6 days in a wake up left, and all of you need to get out there talking to your networks, volunteering your time, and electing Harris Walls as the next president and vice president of the United States. Please, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Anything about volunteering, democratic politics, we can open it up. Go ahead and type them into the chat, and we will answer them right now. Now I'm checking down here to see what they are sending through. We are going to send all of these links. Yes, we will include the links. Ross, if you don't have them yet, we will make certain you definitely do have them. But Ross and his team are all over this stuff, y'all. They will get it out to you. And again, you can always go to GoKamalaHarris.com. We're whiteDudesforHarris.com. Amazing. Ross, thank you so much for having us. Our takeaways here for everybody. Challenge yourself, okay? At the bare minimum, do one non-voting action between now and election day. Volunteer one time. I don't care if you go online and post something, or you pick out 3 friends and text them, okay? Do something. And challenge yourself to have at least 3 vote plan conversations with your friends or family, okay? That's vote tripling. If it goes well, tell them to talk to 3 people. You'd be amazed at how quickly those circles grow. Okay. You all are amazing. Thank you for having us. TrainDemocrats.org is our website. If you ever need anything in democratic politics, any help, have any questions, you want to run for office, you're thinking about running for office, you want to work on a campaign, come see us. Everything we do is completely free. Please follow us online, follow us on Twitter. All of our handles are below.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Kelly.
you again, everyone. You're welcome.
It has been a pleasure to work with the National Democratic Training Committee on this, with you, Kelly, with your staff. Special shout out to Allie, who's just been super helpful. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure getting to work with you and your team. We're coming down the home stretch here. We have one more awesome speaker that's going to chat with us. It's an honor actually to get to introduce Cyrus Lesko. who is gonna talk to us a little bit about why he's been so excited to be a part of the campaign, his story, and why it's so important to get out and volunteer. And just for everyone just who's been in the chat, you can find text, phone, or canvassing opportunities at go.kamalaharris.com. You just have to filter by the type of opportunity that you're looking for, but everything that you're looking for is going to be there. Cyrus, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Hey everybody, my name is Cyrus and I'm a volunteer for the Harris campaign. I served 3 years as an Army infantryman with the Michigan National Guard, and currently I have a small business in Saginaw, Michigan, renovating apartments. Now I'm here asking each one of you to step up because our country's future is on the line. We've got 6 days, just 6 days to make a real difference to protect everything we believe in. And I'm asking each one of you to commit today to do what you can. Knock on doors, make calls, have tough conversations with your friends and neighbors. Whatever it is, every bit of work counts because this election is close and our future depends on us showing up. Imagine what it would feel like to watch the election go the wrong way, to look back and wish you'd done a little bit more. Imagine feeling like you didn't do everything in your power to talk America off the edge of authoritarianism. That's the feeling we're here to avoid. Because here's the truth. This race could be decided by just a handful of votes, and it could come down to just a few doors knocked, a few phone calls, or a few voters convinced to vote. I can't tell you we got this election in the bag, because realistically, this could go either way. It's up to us to make sure every last vote is turned out and every single supporter is motivated. For me, this election is about the country I love. I'm supporting Kamala Harris because I believe in a future worth fighting for. Trump is a threat to everything we stand for. Even his own former vice president, Mike Pence, called him a danger to the Constitution. And if that's not enough to make you stand up, I don't know what is. But here's what I do know. If you go out there and talk to folks, you make a difference. Statistics tell us that a real conversation can make an undecided voter 9% more likely to vote for Kamala. That's huge. That number could flip this election. We've got just 6 days to do this. Imagine a country that reflects what we stand for, a country where democracy, freedom, and opportunity aren't just ideals, but lived values. Kamala Harris stands for that in America, but she can't get there without us. We are the difference between winning and losing this fight. So let's get out there, give it everything we got, and show that we're ready to fight for America's future. Thank you.
Thank you, Cyrus. We really appreciate it. Thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for everything you've done. It's really appreciated. And folks, with that, that's going to be a wrap for us. So to just summarize, the name of the game is getting out and volunteering. I've been working in politics for 20 years. I've been having a lot of conversations with folks recently about the election, how I feel about it. I think I'll say to you all the same thing that I say to insiders and donors and like everyone that I've been talking to about the election. It's solidly a 50-50 race. There are 500 different factors that could impact the outcome of this election. There are probably 30 or 40 that will impact the outcome of this election, and we have no idea what those are. And that's why we need to do everything we can. More is more right now. So if you're able to get out there and volunteer, like do it. If you're able to get out there and like volunteer and canvas until your feet hurt, do that. If you're able to get out there and make phone calls until your phone dies and you need to charge your phone and make more calls again, do that, because there's no way for us to know what's going to impact the outcome of this election. And I think like that's the very serious thing that we're facing right now. The number one way to know whether someone can be elected president of the United States is whether they've previously been elected the president of the United States. And Donald Trump has been elected before. And so we need to take his threat as seriously this cycle as we all didn't in 2016, myself included. And when like I was working in politics in 2016, and I'll never forget watching the results come in Michigan and realizing, around 10:30 at night that we had lost. I personally didn't think that that was possible. My wife worked for the Clinton campaign at the time. I called her first thing in the morning when we were both going into our different offices. And I said to her, like, get excited to elect the first woman president today. And, at the end of the day, that wasn't what happened. And there's real consequences to Donald Trump getting elected president. Don't let anybody tell you that the candidates are the same, that they're going to do the same things. There's not. And if you need evidence of that, all you need to do is go back and look at what Donald Trump did while he was in office. Anything that had been good that happened during his time in office, as President Obama said, Trump ended up taking a lot of credit for the 8 years of the Obama economy. He is an existential threat to the country, and he's not fit to serve. And we have an incredibly qualified, awesome, joyful person who has real concrete plans for the middle class, for all of us. And we have an opportunity to make some history here in this election. And so, you know, uh, anything that you are able to do, go out and vote, get your friends to vote, make phone calls, send texts, whatever it is that you are able to do it as much as you possibly can over these next 7 days. Because we don't know what's going to happen. Your handful of conversations with voters in Pennsylvania, like, could make the difference. Pennsylvania could get decided by a few thousand votes. Wisconsin probably will be decided by a few thousand votes. Michigan will probably be decided by a few thousand, maybe 10 to 20,000 votes. This election is going to be razor thin. Everything that we do has the potential to make a difference. And so, with that, I want to say thank you all so much for being on these. We've had, over 10,000 people join our organizing calls since we first got them started 7 weeks ago. We're really excited to continue the work and see where all of this goes. Thank you for being a part of the White Dudes for Harris community. None of the White Dudes for Harris doesn't exist without the folks on this call. Uh, it's really about all of you. So thank you all so, so much. We're so appreciative of everything that you are doing, have done, and are going to do over the next 7 days. And I look forward to getting together with everybody and hopefully celebrating after the election is over. Thank you again so much, everyone, for being on. We appreciate each and every one of you so much. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you.